Chapter 1922 Bronze Pillar. Everyone reached a consensus on the action goal and decided to go to the Devil's Eye immediately. The ancient city was less than 100 kilometers away from the Devil's Eye. Zhang Yi generously opened the dimensional door and sent them there. However, during this process, he played a little trick. That is, the transmission distance each time is controlled within 3 kilometers. There is no certainty that in the future they will not become each other's enemies. Then leaving yourself a 1-kilometer range can be very effective in battle. The few who knew about it would not speak of it. So soon, they arrived near the huge desert pit. The Devil's Eye is located in the southwest of the Sahara Desert. It is a sunken valley that is reddish-brown in color. If you look down from the sky, you will find that it looks like a huge eyeball. This is how the Devil's Eye got its name. It's hard to imagine that this is a naturally formed terrain. The Devil's Eye is extremely huge, with a diameter of 48 kilometers, which is the size of a small or medium-sized city. The dimensional gate opened, and everyone came to the edge of the Devil's Eye, overlooking this wonder of nature. Zhang Yi's feet were standing on the edge of the Devil's Eye. He stared at the deep pit below. In a trance, he actually had a feeling that he was being watched by a god. This is an extremely dangerous place. Zhang Yi knew it very well in his heart, but he had to go in because it could save his life. It's okay. With my current strength, I can escape even if I meet the gatekeeper of the underworld again. Mammon was severely injured by the 4 horsemen and fell into a deep sleep. As long as it doesn't take action, even if I encounter those so-called demon apostles, it will not take my life. Thinking of the countless life-saving trump cards on his body, Zhang Yi felt a lot more at ease. He looked at Alib. How do we get in? Just go straight down like this. Zhang Yi said, pointing to the pupil below. This was not a difficult task for him. Aliba didn't answer, but looked at Odibio. Chief Odibio, I'll have to trouble you with the next thing. Odibio walked to the edge of the abyss holding the bone scepter. He looked at Zhang Yi, stretched out his left hand and said, Mr. Chaos, please give me the seal staff. Only with it can we truly open the door to the sealed land. Zhang Yi did not hide his feelings. Okay. He opened the dimensional door and soon, a huge bronze pillar poked its head out from it. Boom! The bronze pillar fell into the desert and sank deeply into it. Due to its huge size, it was spit out bit by bit. Everyone else was very curious about what this legendary spear of Longinus was. But when they actually saw it, they all looked stunned. The magnitude of it was beyond their imagination. Cadiles pointed at it and said to Alibu, You call this thing a gun? Alibu's eyes were a little dull, but this sentence brought him back to his thoughts. You ask me? You talk as if I've seen it before. This sentence stopped Cardiles. Odibio didn't seem to expect that this thing was so huge. No wonder Zhang Yi was reluctant to take it out at that time. Otherwise, even if the children around him could carry this thing, they would have to carry a bronze column of more than 200 meters on their shoulders wherever they go, which would be a lot of trouble. Zhang Yi stretched out his hand and said to Odibio with a smile, Chief Odibio, please come in. Odibio took a deep breath and nodded slowly. He waded barefoot on the sand and came to the spear of Longinus. He first raised his head to carefully look at the huge seal, then walked around it carefully twice. Then he turned around and looked at his people. Immediately, 2 sturdy men came out from the Ao family with bare chests. Odibio took out a sharp knife made of bones from the cloth bag on his waist, raised it high, and stabbed it into his chest without hesitation. With a puff sound, blood splattered everywhere. He pressed the bones into his chest with all his strength, and then made a crunching sound as he cut open his chest. Shamanism has had a tradition of bloody sacrifices since ancient times, especially among primitive tribes in Africa, who are more devoted to such violent sacrifices. But what Odibio did next made all the self-proclaimed ruthless people in the room kneel down and call him daddy. After cutting open his chest, he actually broke his ribs, then grabbed his heart with his big hands and pulled it out of his chest. While he was doing these movements, he was chanting mantras. Behind him, 2 sturdy men from the Ao family did not hesitate at all. They followed his example, pulled out their bone knives, and cut open their own stomachs. Looking at their calm expressions, it seemed as if this matter was not painful at all. Everyone here has walked out of a sea of blood and corpses, so you won't vomit at the sight, but you will still feel a chill down your spine. Catylus took a deep breath and began to feel fortunate that he did not fight with these people just now. These are people who are not afraid of death. Odibio and 2 of his tribesmen sprinkled their blood on the bronze pillar. They even deliberately caused pain to themselves and then squeezed their internal organs, letting the blood and internal organ fragments hang on the bronze pillar. Yang Xinshin also specifically explained it to Zhang Yi and the others. Human spirituality will gradually disappear with the development of civilization. Only through stimulation in special ways can we open up, inspiration, and communicate with higher spirits. Cognition will become a shackle on inspiration. This is why people will burst out with power far beyond normal when they sleepwalk. So since ancient times, mankind's ancestors have realized that they must stimulate their own nerves and senses. Only by stimulating themselves with hallucinogens and extreme pain can they communicate with higher-level spirits. In fact, it is connecting to the ether. Odbio took out his heart, followed by other internal organs and intestines. However, he did not die even after doing this, until his chest cavity had completely become an empty shell. It's hard to imagine that he didn't die. He was muttering something, but the 2 strong men beside him lost their lives here. Zhang Yi vaguely felt that the bronze pillar had indeed undergone some subtle changes, which were invisible to the naked eye but detectable through the sixth sense. Boom! After an unknown amount of time, the ground beneath my feet suddenly began to shake violently. Odibio's speed in reciting the spell was also increasing. He closed his eyes, as if he had completely entered another world. Zhang Yi subconsciously flew into the air, fearing that some horrible monster would emerge from the desert. Crack. The next moment, the devil's eye under his feet actually cracked into a huge gap. Then came the second and the third. The shattering sounds became more and more frequent, and all the aliens hurriedly moved away from the area. The members of the AO clan gathered around Odibio and the bronze pillar, paying no attention to the movements of others. Puff! A huge piece of rubble suddenly rose into the air, and a stream of cool, white water gushed out from underneath it. Puff! 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 After the first column of water gushed out, it was soon followed by the second, the third, and the fourth. Those water columns were very thick and huge, white and transparent, like white jade pillars rising into the sky thousands of meters high. How can there be so much water here? Isn't this place a desert? Fatty Sue's surprised voice came. Because the amount of water was so abnormal, the devil's eye, with a diameter of 48 kilometers, was soon submerged below, and the water level was still rising rapidly upwards. In less than a minute, the huge pit was completely filled with clean water and overflowed into the desert outside. After the devil's eye was completely filled with water and turned into a super huge lake, the turbulent water surface slowly showed patterns of movement. From Zhang Yi's high-altitude perspective, this scene was extremely strange, because a huge whirlpool appeared in the center of the lake, and the vortex gives people the feeling of a distorted eyeball. The desert turns into a swamp. At this moment, Zhang Yi looked at Odibio, waiting for this old deng to say what to do next. He was seen slowly and methodically stuffing his organs back into his abdominal cavity one by one, as if nothing had happened. However, the 2 strong men from the AO family who were used as sacrifices were indeed deader than dead. The people here seemed to have a unique understanding of death and pain. Odibio walked towards the huge vortex and stood on its edge. He could feel the strong wind pulling him and trying to swallow him into the huge abyss. He tugged at the animal skin on his body and shouted, "This is the passage to the sealed land. You guys, do you dare to go in with me? Ha ha ha." He opened his mouth and laughed, then opened his arms and jumped in without hesitation. The members of the AO family behind him followed closely behind him like dumplings and jumped into the vortex. Then what are we waiting for? The divine power in Zhang Yi's right hand condensed into a red magic knife. When a person has a weapon, he will have confidence. He first put away the spear of Longinus, then dived headfirst into the whirlpool, not because he was brave, but because he wanted to follow closely behind Lao Deng of the AO family. The dimensional door opened, and he fell directly into the center of the vortex. Other alien organizations were not afraid either and entered the vortex from the edge. Tick. After passing through the center of the vortex, when it reappeared, it was already in an endless dark place. Zhang Yi felt water under his feet, but not much, just covering his calves, but not reaching his knees. He immediately released everyone around him. Liang Yu and others appeared beside him. Yang Xinxin sat on Huahua's back, followed by Blue Bird, Li Yangyang. Zhang Yi turned his head and gave Deng Shintong a look. Old Deng, it's time for you to show your talents. Deng Shintong lifted his hair and smiled elegantly. No problem. I came here just for moments like this. He clasped his hands together, and suddenly a holy light emerged from his body, expanding in all directions. But suddenly, his pupils shrank sharply, and the rapidly expanding aperture also shrank back suddenly, only being able to maintain visibility within a range of less than 10 meters. Something is wrong. There is something here, devouring the light. It's a familiar feeling. He looked at Zhang Yi. Mammon's power is controlling this place. Sin of greed, Mammon. His power is to devour everything, including light. As early as when he was in Tianyu Palace, Zhang Yi had witnessed his power. In a way, Zhang Yi even felt that his power of the void was very similar to Mammon and was inspired by him to create such a powerful ability as Sin of Blasphemy. But he didn't expect that even after being beaten by the 4 angels and falling into a deep sleep again, he could still affect Deng Shintong's ability. Visibility is not high and the surroundings are dark, giving people a feeling of insecurity. Because no one knows what is around. All that was left was the water beneath my feet, making a dripping sound. Zhang Yi said nothing, but activated the bat system on the demon armor. By emitting sound waves and using the feedback sound waves to confirm the existence of objects around, the intelligent system then forms an image and transmits it to the brain. Doing this can give you a basic understanding of the surrounding scene, but of course you can only see it vaguely, not as clearly as with the naked eye. But right now, this is the only way to solve the problem. Okay, old Deng. Don't try to continue spreading your light, so as not to alert the enemy. Put away your ability first. Zhang Yi looked around, like a tiger patrolling the new forest it had arrived at. In the endless darkness, this little bit of light is too conspicuous and may easily attract something. In an environment like this, I always feel like something will suddenly jump out. Fatty Su condensed frost into armor, holding the 9-toothed rake in his hand, and said worriedly. But soon, he said to Li Yangyang next to him, "Don't worry, no matter what danger you encounter, I will protect you well." Li Yangyang knew gently. Really? Brother Chunlei is really the best. A layer of fine goosebumps appeared on Zhang Yi's skin. He shuddered and silently distanced himself from them. At this time, the people of the AO family approached here, and other alien organizations also arrived one after another. Zhang Yi reminded them, "Don't try to illuminate. There are restrictions on light here. If we can't illuminate the entire area, a little bit of light will make us a target in the dark." The others tried it and found that it was true. But we can't see anything here. Where should we go? We are like headless flies. Katao's voice was not loud, but everyone could hear it. Alaba looked at Zhang. That depends on Lord Chaos. As the top space-related alien in human history, your ability can sense the surrounding environment to the greatest extent. It's up to you to find the way. Zhang Yi didn't expect that this trouble would fall on his head in the end, but it didn't matter. Okay. He closed his eyes, and his mind field expanded. With him as the center, all spatial fluctuations within a radius of 5 kilometers were visible. But what he saw was only an extremely empty world, with water under his feet and the boundless sky above him. I didn't sense anything. It's too empty here. As a sealed place, I'm afraid it's too far for me to find a way out in a short time by myself. Zhang Yi said frankly. At this time, Fremon's leader Sharon said. In this case, why don't we use some technological means?
As
He spoke, several soldiers from the able unit behind him walked out and took down the heavy metal box from behind. They opened the box and hundreds of black insects flew out. The sound of wings vibrating could be heard. Zhang Yi looked carefully and found that these were not ordinary insects, but mechanical insects. To be precise, it is a small insect-shaped drone. Moreover, due to its very small size, it is not easy to attract the attention of ghost walkers, so it is safer. We just need to release them to explore the way. Sharon said with a smile. Able soldiers had already controlled the swarm of drones and flew out in all directions. They seemed to be very experienced in exploring such dark depths, so they immediately came up with a solution. Zhang Yi thought to himself, I have learned another trick. Next, we'd better not act rashly. Let's wait for the feedback from the drone. Sharon stopped talking abruptly before he could finish his words. Because everyone's ears were filled with a ringing sound, sweeping in from all directions. Be careful. Alab warned. He had already drawn his holy sword. The cross-shaped sword body and guard were intertwined. He placed it on his chest and prayed. Immediately, flames rose from the edge of his sword. The golden holy flame carries an inviolable majesty. Not far away, the sound of thunder roared, and the Nordic god King Odin also showed his ability. Lance Overlord. An 8-winged Pegasus, made of lightning, appeared under his crotch, covered with silver thunder armor. He held the spear of eternity tightly in his hand, and the light shone in all directions, but was soon compressed into a small space by the boundless darkness. Fat Su swallowed his saliva and quickly looked around with his bat vision. In the endless darkness, the most terrifying thing is not to feel something appear, but to not be able to sense anything, but to have to keep waiting for the unknown thing to appear. He mustered up his courage and comforted Li Yongyang, who was beside him. Don't be afraid, Yongyang, I'm here. If anything wants to hurt you, let it get past me first. Fatty Su was talking while looking into the distance. He turned around to look at Li Yongyang next to him, but found that she was gone. Fatty Su was startled and looked around, suddenly realizing that there was no one around. His heart suddenly trembled and he shouted, Yongyang, Lauda, Uncle Yu, where are you all? Damn. Am I under an illusion? Zhang Yi's cold voice came from below. You're just talking fine. Why are you standing so high? Upon hearing that, Fatty Su looked down subconsciously. He didn't know when he actually rose into the air, pushed into the sky by something. The others looked at him with solemn and puzzled eyes. Come down, Zhang Yi shouted. Fatty Su jumped forward without any hesitation. It was only after he landed that he could see clearly what it was. The water under their feet was not deep, but in its place, a huge bronze pillar rose silently. This bronze pillar looks very familiar. It seems to be from the same civilization as the Spear of Longinus that Zhang Yi stored in the alien space. The size and thickness are almost the same. Everyone be careful. We don't know what this thing is. Zhang Yi tightly grasped the magic knife in his hand and observed the surroundings with his mind. Something troublesome is coming. Only he knew how big the trouble was. Boom! More and more bronze pillars emerged under their feet. 1, 2, 10 dozens. In the limited field of vision, one can see that the densely packed bronze pillars almost fill the entire space.
Boom!
They kept growing upwards, getting longer and longer, forming a huge bronze jungle. The bronze column was rotating and moving at a moderate speed, which was even more dazzling. Is this a trap in the sealed land? Said Odin. No one could give him an answer, but since it was a sealed place, how could the sealed mammon set a trap? Could it be that this was a trap built by a ghost walker who was inspired by his power and voluntarily fell? But according to the AO family, the civilization of the ghost walkers is also extremely backward, comparable to theirs. Could these bronze columns have been built by them? It is hard to imagine that this was created by a backward civilization. Let me try out the quality of these bronze pillars. Everyone present here is one of the world's top strongmen, and of course they will not be afraid of battle. Odin was the first to attack. In his right hand, terrifying thunder was gathering, and a huge thunder spear was whistling in his hand. He raised his head, aimed at the forest of bronze pillars in front of him, and threw it out with all his might. The lightning spear broke through the air, making a thunderous roar, and in an instant it cut through the sky and hit a bronze pillar. What happened in the end made everyone's pupils shrink. Odin, who was at the level of a bishop, struck hard, but the terrifying lightning spear did not cause any effect on the bronze pillar. Instead, it silently turned into spots of light and disappeared. "What is this material?" Odin said with a frown, but he was not too flustered. They have dealt with prehistoric civilizations and know that there are materials that can isolate supernatural energies. Zhang Yi's Tianhai fortress was built with barrier stone materials. Obviously, the bronze pillar's ability to resist supernatural powers is stronger than that of the barrier stone. As if stimulated by the lightning gun, this huge bronze formation underwent drastic changes. The rotation speed of all the bronze pillars suddenly increased and moved closer to where everyone was. Boom! Zhang Yi suddenly shouted. The reinforcement and orc types go forward. If your superpowers are ineffective, try to resist with your body first. This thing is very evil. Use weapons, don't make direct physical contact. Luke Heron directly turned on the Gundam mode, driving the Snow Owl to block the left side of the team. Huahua's body remained in the second form, more than 20 meters long, blocking the right side. Uncle Yu and Liang Yu were at the side and rear. On the front is Zhang Yi, who, with the blessing of the demon god armor, is also very powerful in close combat. Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.